In this video, guys, we shall be taking a look at the 2012 MCU movie, The Avengers, also known as Avengers Assemble, in which is the sixth and final movie in Phase 1 of the MCU. So without further ado, let's get into today's review. Let's get into it. So I thought then that this movie was good. It was solid, but however, it didn't live up to our seemingly really high expectations of what the Avengers movie was going to be, as this was the coming together of all the Avengers that we have seen so far in the MCU, which is the Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, these sorts of big names, and Captain America, which are gonna help save the universe and save the world. And this was the first time they all came together, and sadly, it didn't live up to the high expectations we all had. It was a solid movie, don't get me wrong, and I do think there was great things to like about this movie. However, I just think our seemingly high expectations, which was one of the greatest movies of all time, didn't quite live up to those, but we do get to one of the greatest of all time later down in the line in the Avengers franchise. I think the main thing that I was on the fence around in this particular movie was one thing, in which was that they spent too much time on the Avengers not getting on with each other, which is understandable, don't get me wrong, because if you're in one job and you get put into a group of people that you've never seen before, never heard, you might have heard about them, but you get put in a group with them and you're like, oh, how's it going, you're not going to be able to work as a team, never mind save the universe or save the world. And I get that, but I feel that they spent a lot of time bullshitting around with each other, arguing around with each other, rather than saving the universe. In which I think the MCU and Marvel spent way too much time on this angle. So I think that was a disappointing factor, even though during that time we had some unbelievable moments like the Thor versus Iron Man battle, in which was amazing, fighting over Loki's capture and things like that. That was pretty damn good. And I think that battle is something that we all wanted to sort of see, but we didn't. We didn't want to see our Avengers fighting, but we did want to see who was the strongest Avengers. And we got to see a little snippet of that. And throughout the MCU, we get to see snippets of little battles between likes of Thor and Hulk, between likes of Thor and Iron Man in this one, and likes of Iron Man and Captain America later down the line. And it's those sorts of matchups that we'd like to see. And yeah, that was one of the best moments in this entire film. That's not to say it was a bad film, but that's just to say that this was probably one of the biggest parts of this movie that I like to refer to as being a sort of, they did that pretty well. I did like the end battle. I thought the end battle was great. However, this is the part where, again, another little sticking point, which I don't really like, is Loki as a villain. I love Loki as a character. I love Loki throughout most of the movies he's in. However, how can you put Loki as the main villain when he struggled to beat Thor in the Thor movie? Let's be honest, he got defeated very easily in the Thor movie. And to me, yeah, he's very mischievous. He's got that element of things. He is very, like, two-faced. He's not to be trusted. And all these things can be said about Loki, and I think he's very funny, great character, but is he a good villain? No. In my eyes, he isn't that good of a villain. And I think it shows that in this particular movie, as he used his army to fight all his battles. He did nothing but take over the minds of some of the scientists and SHIELD agents in the building and didn't really do much else. And yeah, he didn't make it easy for anyone. He got swung around by Hulk, and that was about it. He did nothing else. And that's why, to me, although he sounds like he can talk the talk, but he can't walk the walk, and I ask myself this. Out of all the villains that have appeared in the Avengers movies, Thanos, Ultron, and then now we're looking at Loki, who's the most likely going to be able to kill a Avenger? You're looking at Thanos, you're looking at Ultron, but you're not looking at Loki. I don't think Loki's got the power, nor the brains and the combativeness to be able to kill an Avenger. So in reality, it seemed very predictable what was going to happen. the Avengers were going to save the day and that was going to be it. There was no threat. There was nothing like that. And he killed one person, I think, which was Agent Coulson. But he wasn't even an Avenger and anything like that. And any one of those other guys would have done something similar. Moving on to something else I did like was the Hulk. And the reason I'm pointing out the Hulk is because this is the first time we see Mark Ruffalo play the Hulk, as it was before Edward Norton. However, he had disputes with the likes of Marvel over different things, creative control, that sort of thing. And obviously, the replacement, you went into this movie thinking, don't know how this is going to go because you've just replaced one of your biggest Avengers. However, it worked fine. It worked completely fine. You never knew that there was a different Hulk because he just slotted in as the Bruce Banner that we'd love and as Hulk. And he was as destructive as ever. So I had no qualms with the replacement of the Hulk. And it worked a treat, even though beforehand you were worried a little bit because this was a big moment and a lot of pressure would have been on Mark Ruffalo to perform as the Hulk due to the replacement on one of the biggest movies that Marvel had up until that point. So I think, in a way, their risk paid off in a big way, and now he's known as the Hulk in the MCU, and you sometimes forget that Edward Norton was ever the Hulk due to Mark Ruffalo's great performances. Moving back on to Thanos in a weird way, and you might be like, Thanos is not in the Avengers. No, he's not, but he is. He's in the end credit scene. He appears at the end, and that is the first time we see him at all. And that was just an end credit scene to sort of hype you up for what is yet to come. And that was great, as after the Avengers, everything changes in the MCU, and you start on the build-up to the Infinity War Avengers movies and the Age of Ultron movie, and you start to see the MCU take shape of where it's going to go, and that is eventually leading up to the battle with Thanos. However, for now, this was just a great end credit scene that gets you hyped up, in which did a good job at sort of going, oh, I've got to see the next film, and that's the sort of thing you want to be seeing, and that's what made the MCU so good in definitely its early days of hyping you up to make sure you watch that movie. Oh, and now you've got to watch this movie, and to keep watching and watching to find out what's going to happen to these iconic characters. Finally then, the actors and actresses were incredible. We saw the likes of Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Chris Evans, Gregg, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth. We saw the likes of Tom Hiddleston, Jeremy Renner, Stan Lee. We also saw Gwyneth Paltrow and Stellan Skarsgard, and many, many more. And I apologise if I missed any big names off there, but they were all incredible and all contributed massively. And I was very surprised on one thing about the actors and actresses, and that is that they all got time to shine. As beforehand, we were all thinking, well, you've got all these 6 Avengers, they've all got their own movies, apart from Jeremy Renner and obviously Black Widow up until this point, and you're thinking, how are you going to be able to showcase all of these 6 big Avengers? However, they managed to do it. They managed to show everybody's strengths and everyone's weaknesses. To summarise this movie then, I think it started off the Avengers franchise very, very well and ended phase 1 in the best possible way, and hence why I rate this movie a 7.4 and a world-class film. So let me know down in the comments down below what your thoughts are. Do you agree? Do you disagree with anything I've said in this review? Also, I've noticed that not enough people have been subscribing, so hit that subscribe button, please. Also hit that like button, it'll really help us out. And I shall see you guys in the next one.